Tonight, one of the most twisted stories we have investigated yet. A woman raped, becoming pregnant, and now in a fight over custody of the child with the father.
The bizarre chain of events unraveling in Tangipahoa Parish. Chris Nakamoto and the investigative unit with this insane story.
The outrageous case has people we talked to flabbergasted. They don't understand how something like this could happen, but it did. And tonight, the victim says she wants to see her perpetrator prosecuted.
He offered to bring me home that night because my friend wanted to leave early.
Crysta Abelseth knows all too well about overcoming adversity. The 32-year-old is the mother of a 16-year-old who we are not naming or identifying because she's a minor. She was also born from a rape.
He was a 30-year-old man and I was 16.
Abelseth recalls meeting this man, John Barnes, at a bar in Hammond back in 2005. He offered to take her home.
Instead of bringing me home, he brought me to his home. And once inside, he proceeded to rape me on his living room couch.
Abelseth did not know Barnes before that night, but came away from it pregnant.
Everybody else just assumed it was from a boyfriend, and I just let them believe that.
Abelseth had a healthy baby girl, and everything was fine until John Barnes learned sometime in 2011 that he might have a daughter.
When my daughter was 5 years old, he found out about her. And once he found out about her, he basically pursued custody and wanted to take her away from me. And they granted him 50-50 custody, despite the fact that it was caused through rape.
This DNA test is part of court documents that show with 99.97% probability John Barnes is the child's father. Problem is, Barnes was 30 years old and Abelseth was 16, making it illegal even if it were consensual. Abelseth maintains it was never consensual. 7 years ago, in July of 2015, Abelseth pressed charges against Barnes. This report she filed with the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office for simple rape details everything that was done to her.
Why did it take you so long to file that complaint?
Well, like I said, I was young and I didn't know the law at the time. I didn't think I had any more time to do it. I thought if I didn't do it right after it happened, like the next day, then there was nothing I could do about it. And like I said, I went to that trauma counselor and he informed me, no, you have 30 years after you turn 18.
From 2015 until now, nothing has happened with the report, and the Sheriff's Office tells us it's still open.
It was never assigned to any detective and nothing was ever investigated.
A quick search of John Barnes shows he owns Gumbo Digital Branding, a web company in Ponchatoula. Barnes' website shows the police department as his client. Court records in the Tangipahoa Parish Courthouse show John Barnes admitted in June of 2011 that he's the biological father of the child. This year, he was granted full custody of that child, even though a criminal complaint was filed against him in 2015. Mysteriously, those records are under seal, hidden from public view.
When I found out that she was a rape victim and found out that this rapist could potentially get full custody, that was when I stepped in and said, no, something has to be done about this.
Stacy Trish works for the nonprofit Save Lives. She's helping Abelseth through this dark and tangled web that allowed her perpetrator to get custody of her child. Things took a dramatic turn this year when they say a judge granted Barnes full custody of the child. It happened after Barnes alleged Abelseth gave her daughter a cell phone. Abelseth says she was also ordered to pay him child support.
She's been forced to pay her perpetrator. She's been forced to pay the rapist child support. She's been forced to pay his legal fees. And she's been forced to give up custody of this child that's a product of the rape. It just makes no sense.
We brought this case to the Louisiana Foundation Against Sexual Assault.
You can't consent. You're too young. That's what the law says.
Their lawyers say not only is this egregious, but they've never seen a case like it.
It seems pretty straightforward, not only that a crime took place, but that as a result of that crime that this person shouldn't have custody of this child.
Lawyer Sean Cassidy says even in 2005, when the rape took place,
that's felony rape in Louisiana.
Consent or not, it was illegal for a 30-year-old to sleep with a 16-year-old.
If a child is born from a felony rape, the law mandates, it says the abuser shall not have visitation or any contact with that child, much less custody.
Tonight, Abelseth says for years she tried to go about this case the right way, through the courts. But having her daughter taken away weeks ago over allegations she gave her a cell phone left her with a lack of confidence that she'll ever get a fair shake. With justice impossible to find for the past 16 years.
He's well connected. He's threatened me multiple times saying that he has connections in the justice system, so I need to be careful. And that he can take her away from me anytime he wants to, and I never really believed him up until now because it's happening.
I spoke to John Barnes on the phone. He admitted the daughter with Crysta is his, but referred all questions to his lawyer, who did not get back to us. The Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office says the case is still open, and we reached out to the judge who made this decision. A woman in his office told us his judicial canons prevent him from talking about it. For the investigative unit, I'm Crysta Abelseth.
A hearing is scheduled next month after Abelseth's lawyer filed court motions to have custody taken away from Barnes.